The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have killed Shredder and therefore taken over the Foot Clan. So what does that mean for the future? Because Mikey doesn't agree with them taking over the Foot Clan, but Splinter wants to become their new leader. This is the Comicstorian channel where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues. I break them down, I read them back to you dramatically, and I give you an audio drama. It allows you to know what's going on in the world of comic books and keep up with them, but also allows you to know what you should add to your collection by going to your local comic book store. Today we're going to be continuing our coverage of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, picking up right where we left off. Shredder is dead, Splinter is in charge, and Michelangelo has left them. So let's see how this is handled. Donnie looks through the high-tech spy drone that Harold had given him, keeping track of the thugs standing guard outside of the warehouse. Yeah, they're definitely up to something in there, he says as he reads the heat signature, but he points out to his brothers that some of them seem to be hazy. Raph leaps out of the shadows, knocking the guns away from the guards' hands, beating them into the ground. I don't need any of Harold's fancy spy gadgets to figure that out, he says with a laugh. Leo isn't happy with his brother, but the two of them drag the bodies into the shadows. We're ninjas, remember? Strike hard and fast. But we do it my way this time, so hold your horses, Leo says to his brother. They wait for Donnie to catch up and unsheath their weapons, breaking through the front door, attacking the thugs. But the goons turn, opening fire, forcing the turtles to duck behind some of the boxes. What the hell? I thought your boys had this place secured, one of the cloaked goons snaps. Donnie peeks over the boxes, informing his brothers that the cloaked goons were the ones that were giving his equipment a hard time. Worry about that later. We came here to make a statement, so let's make it, Leo says as he raises his weapon. Foot, attack! He cries out, weapons crashing as the warehouse is suddenly filled with foot ninjas. With the goons standing no chance, the cloaked thugs look around, quickly seeing the situation has shifted and begin to fade away from the view. Whoa, did you guys see that? Donnie asks as he knocks away another pistol. The fight ends quickly and Leo slams the gunrunner's boss into the wall. Foot, stand down, he shouts over his shoulder. Foot Clan, thought you ninja freaks were history, the thug snaps. And Leo drops onto the floor, informing him that the crime operations either stop now or the Foot Clan will bring its full might against his operation. You might want to start thinking real hard before you start spouting all that talk, unless you're looking to have the street phantoms choke on your words, the goon snaps. Are you talking about the ones with the cloaks? Donnie asks, but the guy decides to calm down as one of the foot assassins steps forward to threaten him. Leo pushes her away. I said stand down. He turns back to the thug, giving him one last warning before the Foot leaves. Outside, he orders the Foot members to return to their base, while the rest of the brothers separate to deal with their own things. And the woman Foot assassin that was sent away earlier looks down from the shadows. Elsewhere in the city, Mikey is crouching in the shadows, watching as a robber tries to steal an old lady's purse. She shouts for help, trying to push away the goon. You're the lady, jerkwad! Mikey growls as he steps out swinging his weapon, the heavy weight cracking on the robber's head. Leave the purse alone, Mikey growls, but both the goon and the woman scream in fear and run away. The goon slamming into a pole and dropping to the ground, with Mikey looking sheepishly as he walks over. Cripes, little bro, you trying to scare the bad guys to death or what? Raph calls out from the end of the alleyway, and Mikey checks the guy, making sure that he's okay, as he asks what Raph is even doing there. Came to take you home, kid. The whole being alone in the city thing, I've been there. The one thing I remember is, it totally sucks. But Mikey refuses, with Raph starting to argue, but he just puts his hand on his brother's shoulder. No point in us fighting. There's enough of that going on around right now. Better be careful out there, okay? And remember, when you're ready, you've always got a home with your family, Raph tells him, and he waves as he turns away, disappearing into the city. Mikey turns at the sound of another voice and discovers Mondo the Gecko sticking to a nearby wall. You know, the dude's not wrong. Just might not be the right home or the right family, he says with a smile. Meanwhile, neither mutant is aware that a soldier is watching them from the rooftops above, recording the interaction and reporting it to a home base. Leonardo returns to the Foot Clan's base, reporting to Master Splinter, and he warns him of the new tech that the team has encountered. Splinter nods, reminding his son that they can't allow a power vacuum in the city, that chaos will only come from it. I know, Father. But when you say it like that, it sounds easy, when it's also crazy complicated, Leo tells him with a sigh. Donnie has returned to Harold's lab, wanting to check in with the techie. Metalhead Mark II, nice, he says as he sees Harold working on a new robot. More like Metalhead Mark it off the things you can touch list, Harold says, reminding Donnie that he blew up the last one. Donnie nods as he continues to look around, informing Harold of the cloaking ninjas that they encountered that night. "I'll be Harold starts to state, looking off in the distance. He begins to explain that tech was stolen from him and his former partner when she stabbed him in the back. "She got filthy rich and nearly ruined me," he shouts, telling Donnie that if the cloaks have hit the streets, his ninjas better be ready. But over at Dunn Import and Export, Darius Dunn sits at his desk when his two soldiers fade in using their cloaks, informing him that the weapons deal went south when the Foot Clan arrived. Ninja loonies and them weren't messing around. Looks like they're still looking to be a major player in the city. But a voice calls out to them from the office door. "Wrong. The Foot Clan has never been weaker, and this must be remedied," the woman foot assassin from before says as she steps out of the shadows. Meanwhile, Alopex launches into her attack, but Leo ducks out of the way, blocking her rapid kicks. He blocks several more blows and pushes her back as she leaps off, flipping over his head, and the two drop into another combat stance. But then they stand straight up, bowing to each other. "And now you," Leo says, turning to the gathering of Foot Clan acolytes. He orders them to separate into pairs and practice their sparring, to remember to continue to switch between fighting styles, as adaptability could save them on the battlefield someday. But as they watch the ninjas duel, Alopex and Leo discuss how odd it is once again to be working together with the Foot, since the last time was when Leo was brainwashed by Katsuni and Shredder. "I hope you know that I'm really glad to have you helping us out," he tells her, and she smiles. "Well, somebody's gotta help you whip these newbies into shape the proper way, though to be perfectly honest, as fun as this is, I do miss hanging out with Angel," she tells him. At that moment in the city, Angel has rounded a corner to discover Casey Jones fighting against a couple of gangbangers. He whirls around, swinging his bat, cracking the biggest guy. "Jones, what the hell are you doing?" Angel asks, and Casey ducks under another swinging chain as he cracks another member. "Just a little community service is all, no biggie," he tells her as he catches his breath. He collects all their weapons, tossing them into the dumpster as Angel asks what the goons are doing. "Just caught them lurking where they don't belong," he tells her, and then he turns back to her, asking why she isn't wearing the super suit. "Left it with Harold. He wanted to make upgrades." So Casey bids her a good night, pulling his hockey mask down, telling her that he's going to be making the rounds. He explains that he needs to keep up his presence so the goons will start to overrun. But back over at the Foot Clan base, Splinter is simply enjoying a cup of tea, remembering all of his encounters. But his thoughts are interrupted as he whirls around with the tea kettle, slapping the claws of the Foot assassin away as she prepares to strike. "You would dare ambush your master, girl?" he asks, and she nods as she informs him that he isn't her master and is only making the Foot Clan weak. "Yet it appears that you are alone in your coup," he tells her. But the street phantoms suddenly fade in through the walls, preparing to strike. "No, rat, she isn't," the leader hisses. Splinter doesn't hesitate, leaping into a kick that merely passes through a phantom. He crashes into a nearby table, bringing his elite guard from the outside. "Elite, stop the assassins!" he calls, but his betrayer leaps at him as the guards begin to deal with the street phantoms. The guards are no match as the phantoms quickly allow attacks to pass through them before hitting the guards with their energy sticks. "Guess we better show them that we ain't assassins. We're street phantoms," their leader Jammer shouts. Elsewhere, Leo and Alopex and the Foot acolytes look up from their training at the sound of a battle. "It came from the Master's chambers!" Alopex shouts, and everyone moves to help Splinter. But at that moment, more of the phantoms fade through the wall. "Your boss is going to need a little privacy at the moment," Jammer laughs. Leo tries to cut through him, but the blade harmlessly goes through his cloak, and he quickly is hit by the energy staff. Meanwhile, the female assassin lashes out at Splinter, claiming that he has made the Foot Clan weak, that they should be ruthless, remorseless. But Splinter reaches up, grabbing her wrist, spinning her through the air, and slamming her into the wall. "You forget, however, it is only through a death deal that I stand here today as your master," he tells her as he stands over her, and she shakes her head, unable to stand. "You are not my master," she gasps. Splinter bares his teeth as he leans in, grabbing her by her tunic. "By the ancient rites, I am your worn master, and though you mistakenly believe otherwise, as a ninja warrior, you're superior," he says as he raises his fist. Meanwhile, Leo and Alopex are losing, unable to strike the phantoms in their cloaks. That's when Leo reminds her that they need to change up their tactics if they're going to survive. He leaps to distract the phantoms, having given Alopex his twin swords. The phantoms turn to pay attention to him, and the fox throws the blades, knocking the cloaks from the phantoms back, making them tangible. Leo leaps in, delivering 2 kicks that knock them out. Oh man, Jammer and Maze are down, let's get the hell out of here! One of the other phantoms shouts, leading the rest of them as they fade through the walls and disappear. Let them go, we have to protect the master, Leo shouts to his Foot Clan. But when they round the corner, they find Splinter standing over the assassin. I'm fine, Leonardo. I am simply caught in a misunderstanding with this confused child, he says, pointing down at the ninja. He pulls off her mask, demanding to know her name. I am Jenica, she says, and Splinter demands that she explain her actions. The young woman tells them that she feels Splinter has weakened the clan with his thoughts of compassion. I am an assassin. What role do I have in a warrior clan so defanged? Splinter shakes his head, reminding her that her role is the same. That Shredder used the clan to further his own personal gains, which Splinter will not allow. But when we have no alternative, we will strike our enemies as true ninjas should, and deadly consequence. I was wrong about you, Master. I'm sorry, Jenica tells him, and Splinter looks at her. You are forgiven, yet I believe a punishment is in order, Jenica. A demotion for your misdeeds. You must prove yourself to the clan once again. Meanwhile, out in the city, Mondo has led Mikey to the base of operations for the Mutant animal. He opens the door, and Mikey's eyes widen in surprise as Hobbs' crew shouts in surprise, with Slash holding up a cake for him. Whoa! Mikey says with a smile, and the group cheers, motioning Mikey through the door. Hobbs closes behind him, unaware that the soldier is still watching them from the rooftops, reporting to his command center and awaiting orders. And there you have it. This volume was broken down into 2 different stories, so I decided to bring you both of the stories. We have the Mikey story, and we also have this Jenica story. Now, Jenica's going to become a major player in the comic books, so just so you know, she's not going away. She's going to be around for quite some time. Also, the artwork got a little weird for these couple of issues. The regular artist is probably just on break, but it goes back to the artwork that we all know and love with the Turtles series. So, hopefully we'll see you guys here for the next part of Turtles, which we'll be covering very soon. But next week, we're going to go over to Radiant Black, see what's going on over there. All right, guys, I'll see you in a bit.